Hello, this is part 5. If you've missed my other parts, I would invite you to stop this one and go look over the other 1, 2, 3, and 4. But if you can't, and this is the only one you see, this was the only one that rotates up, jump in here. This is the 5th day of Holy Week, which in my calculation, which I explain in my first part, is Tuesday of Holy Week. We're following in chronological order Jesus' activity as we follow Jesus, follow his teaching, follow along with him on the last week of his earthly life. And I'm Mark Royer. We're here in my shop in Granger, Indiana, and God laid upon my heart to do this together. Whether you're watching via YouTube or somebody shared this with you or forwarded it to you, it's April 2022. It's the season of what we know of as Easter, and we're following Holy Week. So this is Tuesday, April the 12th, 2022. It's the last day of Jesus' public teaching. Now, if you watched part 4, on Monday morning, he was headed into the temple. Well, he's headed the same direction today. On Monday, he set things in order. Today, he gets a lot of confrontation from the Pharisees, the Sanhedrin, the religious leaders, the chief priests. They're all coming at him. They're all holding committee meetings about him. They're trying to trip him up the best way they can. And this ends up being his final day of public ministry before the other events of the Holy Week. But the first thing that happens is he goes down the same road, and the fig tree's withered that he cursed the day before because it didn't bear any fruit, because it was all show and no grow. And Peter was the one that mentioned it in shocking disbelief that it was shriveled up in one day's time. This beautiful tree, although it bare no fruit, which is what Jesus pushed against, that we need to bear fruit in our lives. And Peter is saying, boy, that happened fast. And Jesus confronted him and challenged him. What surprises you in this? If you say to the mountain, sprout some legs and walk into the sea, if you do that in faith and don't doubt, it'll be done. That's the challenge Jesus gives. It's outrageous, right? Well, yeah. But the expectation of God in our lives is that we live by a simple, unwavering, undoubting faith. Because anything other than simple, unwavering, undoubting is completely dishonoring to God. Wow. I hope that brings conviction the way it does to you, the way it does to me, right? I take a personal inventory of my entire life that way, but so be it. It's important for us to understand this, that fully entrusting our lives to Christ. I mean, a guy that's like me, that's given to all kinds of details. My mind spins with details and wanting to control the details. And, you know, it's God who is in charge of those things. It's important. So, from that moment, he takes off for the temple, and he spends a long day, but he teaches a lot. And he's interrupted frequently by angry Pharisees, always questioning. He taught the parable of the 2 sons, the vineyard workers. He talks about the stone that the builders rejected. He talks about the marriage feast. He teaches parables and different concepts, repetitious concepts of teachings before, making sure they get it. But the plot thickens all day long because the Pharisees are trying to figure out how to trip him up. So late in the afternoon, they come to him at kind of a crescendo moment, asking him, is it unlawful to pay tribute to Caesar? So now these religious leaders are trying to get in trouble with the Roman government because they were under Roman domination then. I mean, terrible Roman domination. I almost said Russian. Did you notice that? Roman domination. And it was at that moment that he said, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar and to God the things that are God's. I mean, that's the wisdom of God at play and at work there. And so they would ask him questions, and then the people would ask him questions. And so this period of teaching continued on until the temple closed. They closed the door, and they're following Jesus. And then he takes a few minutes and does more teaching at the Mount of Olives that Tuesday, late afternoon, early evening. That evening in Bethany was a powerful one. It's the one where they had the very formal dinner in honor of Jesus that Tuesday night. And Jesus would be exhausted, right, with all that criticism and critique. But it was that night where Mary anointed Jesus' feet with that costly perfume that was worth a year's wages. That it said it filled the oikodamas, it filled the odor of it, the perfume, the sense of it, filled the whole house where they were sitting. And so God captured, that idea of the spirit of sacrifice seized every molecule of that oikodamas, that home, is this idea that the spiritual moment just seized everybody. Was pulled into that. It's moments like that separate the truly spiritual people from the carnal. And the carnal one said, why wasn't that sold and given to the poor? Jesus said, the poor you'll always have with you, but I'm not going to be with you much longer. And he kept telling them that, which is true. Because by 48 hours, he's going to be in Gethsemane being arrested. Within 48 hours of that anointing. When Jesus said, the poor you'll always have with you, but not me. She's anointed me for burial, Jesus said. It's a powerful moment in that home in Bethany that night. God bless. I hope you tune in for the next part 6.